This one's going to be fun. This one is going to be fun. So, Brexit problem solved. Britain's simple solution: ignore the EU just like the rest of Europe. Oh my god! The Express reader's genius plans to stifle the EU. Just ignore them. You know what kind of a genius reads the Express and like, oh, I've got it. Why don't we just like ignore the EU? These people are genuinely not sane. They just aren't. You know, the Express article actually starts off okay. Liz Truss has been holding intensive talks with her counterpart Maros Sefcovic in a bid to resolve the ongoing spat over the Northern Ireland Protocol. You know, the thing which Britain said was great and came up with and agreed to and ran an election on. Yeah, you know, that thing. Yeah, apparently that's a problem, if you haven't heard. It revolves around the province effectively being kept in the EU single market, and this, as the Express points out, was a part of Boris Johnson's withdrawal agreement. So far, Express, you're doing well. You're doing okay. You know, the UK this has led to checks on goods travelling between NI and the rest of the UK, or GB, you could call it. You know, DUP's Agricultural Minister Poots ordered an end to agri-food checks at Northern Ireland ports. That was blocked by a High Court judge. Mr Justice Colton issued an interim order until a judicial review against the DUP minister's decisions can be heard in full. So again, great stuff. We already know this stuff, so not bad from the Express so far. And then we get into the readers' comments, because people like, who wrote this article, Oliver Pritchard-Jones, right? They don't have any decent journalistic skills. At least they won't show that when they write for the Express. So what they'll do is they'll just get a load of comments, and you could say, aren't I a bit sad for making a video based on comments? But the level of IQ in this is just crazy. So this sparked fury among many express.co.uk readers. Oh yeah, they're so angry. Let's see what they say. 10G raged, it's an absolute breach of international law. Can you tell me which law it breaches? Because actually it doesn't, unless you're talking about Edwin Poots' actions, which potentially I think is a breach of international law. I'm not a lawyer, but the court has put in a temporary injunction in this. So Tenchi, you could be right depending on what you're talking about. This, I think it might be 10G still, so you're probably wrong. So an unelected state putting a border in another sovereign country. Okay. The EU is not unelected for a start. It's not a state. England, you'd say, is a state. The USA, a collection of states. The United States. Russia is a state, but the EU is not a state. I am having to tell you. A border in another sovereign country. That's not really true, is it? And this so-called sovereign country agreed to a trade border in the Irish Sea. So Tenji, are you mad at the EU, or should you really be mad at the Westminster government? Should you really be mad at Boris Johnson? Oh, what's this? A Brexiteer slams Brussels over payments. Can't afford the EU anymore. Do you know what? We'll save this one for another day. That one, we'll keep that one for another day. So, we've got a few more. They are keen to keep their single market. Let them check the border on their side of the channel. Now, I was trying to figure out what he was talking about, because there are checks in the English channel. There are checks going from GB to France, for example. So I couldn't figure out what he's talking about, because over here is the Celtic Sea. So there's no channel here, it's a sea. So I couldn't figure out what he's talking about. So I'm assuming he's saying do checks on goods leaving Ireland to go to the rest of the EU. But, their side of the channel doesn't make sense. I don't know what he's talking about. Maybe the Express should pick better commenters. I don't know. Ian W. wrote, isn't it amazing how quickly the judiciary can move when they want to, and when it's against Brexit Britain? I mean, when you do brazenly stupid things like try to clearly breach the law, the courts can move quite quickly, especially when you put civil servants in a position of, do we listen to what the minister has told us, someone who is actually elected, or do we not do that and not break the law? Courts can step in real quick. It's time these old clowns moved on and allowed people to take over our law courts who are working in the best interest of our country. You mean the judges who have a way more legal experience than you, big man? Should we get rid of them and put in you? What? These people, you want to get rid of judges now. You wanted British judges and British courts and all this stuff. Now you're suddenly really angry at what the British courts have come up with. Oh my God. Kronos 2021 saying what I would say to Northern Ireland ignores the EU and our expletive judges. Oh yeah, mate, yeah, sick one. You'd say, oh yeah, Northern Ireland just ignore the EU and our judges. Ignore the judiciary. Yeah, yeah, that's great, mate. Should we all just ignore the judiciary when they come up with rulings we don't like? Should we? Honestly, this man Kronos best be an anarchist because that's what he's pushing. And saying, Kronos, I think, goes on to say, do what many other EU countries do. They ignore the EU and they get on with their business. So you're telling me, right, we didn't even need to do Brexit to ignore the EU. We could have just ignored them like other countries. But Kronos doesn't actually mention which countries. I assume he might be talking about Hungary and Poland. Poland, which may have its funds cut or put on pause. And Poland, which has to pay a really high legal bill for all the problems they're causing. Yeah, they're ignoring the EU is causing all sorts of problems there. I think Hungary will probably fall to a similar fate. But this man Kronos, just ignore the EU. Like other EU member states do. Like, are you stupid? Are you stupid? They don't ignore the EU. So dumb. They can veto rules the EU tries to come up with, but that's just a part of the legislative process. Kronos, mate, about time you start doing some reading, pal. Making the interim order, Mr. Colton said there shouldn't be any confusion hanging around over those civil servants. So I'm persuaded if this is a case, there should be an interim relief because civil servants, again, didn't want to be put in a position where they would have to break the law. I therefore make the order to suspend the instruction given by the Minister for Agriculture until further order of this court. So essentially he's giving the civil servants an out and saying the court will kind of rule on this decision by Edwin Poots. Mr. Poots ordered civil servants to stop customs checks from fortnight on Wednesday, saying that their continued implementation was having a damaging impact on the province's economy, which Northern Ireland is actually economically doing okay because they can export to GB and the EU with no problem. So it's not really true, is it? Certain companies are struggling, but certain companies are benefiting massively from this. And we actually have a smart commenter in the comment section. Crazy, right? Sparrowhawk saying the Northern Ireland Protocol is English or UK law. Are the DUP suggesting that the UK law should be broken? Those great patriots in the DUP saying we should break our own law. And you've got here this guy guessed lots of numbers, absolutely dumb comments. So yeah, the Express full of dumb comments, but the top person there, Sparrowhawk, with a good comment, should I say? And the simple fact is, there's no channel here, so I don't know what that dude was talking about. There's only the Celtic Sea. Can you guys see a channel anywhere? Is there a channel over here? Can you see one? No, it's Big Sea. The channel's here, the English channel, but there are already checks going on there, so. Again, should anyone expect anything smart from the Express? No, but this is like bottom of the barrel stuff. And the genius, he said, why don't we just ignore the EU? Like, dude, please go back. Please read like stuff, not the Express, obviously. Read like decent papers or some books or something. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, support the channel on Patreon if you can, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.